I enjoyed it. I think it's, I like the platform, obviously. I've been working on it for a long time, and I enjoy seeing it work with arts and culture, with the Arts and Culture Trail. I think it might work for schools very well.
Yeah.
I think it might work for prospective parents who may be waiting for their kids to come back from interviews. And I think they maybe work for new students. But it even worked for me, because again, I didn't know any information about a lot of the works that I walk past every day, particularly the one that's just in front of my office that was actually realised by students. So I liked it a lot. It surprised me. Lots of them, really. I knew this. I've wanted this trail to become a reality for a long time. To just be able to use the phone and go between different places was great. I think my favourite parts, in a way, were the ones I didn't expect it, when I get lost and I couldn't find something, or something that I walked past lots of times suddenly became meaningful to me.
Yeah.
So that was my favourite part, being surprised by what you put together. Fairly, yes, fairly. I didn't find a few things, so I wanted to change my journey and go from, not follow the numbers, because two things were close to each other, even though the numbers weren't close to each other. So in that way I was a bit rebellious, I suppose, but I was persuaded to just stick with the numbers and follow the trail as I should, and there was a logic to that, so I'm glad I did. That's a good question. I genuinely don't know. I think, when I took the tour, I was all over the place. It was an obvious starting point, but then we changed it, because in fact it was more obvious to just modify the two sides of the forum. And trails suggest that you kind of walk forward rather than in a loop, and go back upon yourself. And that's what sometimes happened. But there's a logic in what you've done, and if you trust that logic, then it's a good trail. It's whether people will actually follow it that I have no idea. Probably not. Yeah. It's safe even if people don't follow it, and people can decide how to design their own experience. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it would have taken me much longer, and I probably would have given up on a couple of locations. So I was glad when I saw the rewriting of the trail that it was helping the user to find things, rather than just assuming they could find it by location. So the text on the trail, when I did the trail, were taken from the paper trail PDF. And we knew that they would require adaptation, because a paper trail is really not the same as a digital trail, but we hadn't done it yet. So on the day, we either got too much information or not enough information, and the balance between biographical data about the artist and data about the work were not quite right. So the text had to be quite substantially rewritten, and I'm very happy with it. I didn't see them at the time when I did the trail, but I saw them yesterday. They were added at the last moment, and that's usually how this is done. It'd be useful to test that, particularly I know you're testing it today, I think, with Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're quite diverse, and their idea is obviously to encourage people to get closer to the work, to have another look, to get a little bit more involved, and to prompt the interactivity, which is really to encourage them to leave a comment. We'll have to see whether people do, to see whether they really work. We don't know that at this point. But it's one of the most difficult things to write without it becoming repetitive. Yeah.